Welcome to Creating with Christina. I'm Christina Reese and this is my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to make a gatefold card, but not just any gatefold card. This gatefold card will be able to stay closed. I'm going to show you a little trick, very simple, on how to latch the two doors to the gate. All right, so let's get started. This is the card that we'll be making today. It's called a gatefold, but I've created it so that the gatefold stays closed. See how the doors don't open. And how I did that is simply by putting my sentiments on one piece and having another piece where that sentiment can tuck under. And in this case, it's the sunflower from the Painted Harvest stamp set. Here are the tools and supplies you'll need to complete this project. The Painted Harvest stamp set, the Better Together stamp set. Because the Painted Harvest is a photopolymer stamp, you are going to need a foam mat to give those stamps a smooth surface. You'll need tape runner, you will need dimensionals, you'll need paper snips and a scoring tool and paper trimmer. You're going to need thick white cardstock for your card base. You'll need Whisper White regular cardstock to stamp your image. You'll need So Saffron cardstock, and you'll need Melon Mambo cardstock. You'll also need those colors in the ink, So Saffron, Melon Mambo, Granny Apple Green, and Black. That's the ink colors you'll need. And last but not least, you will need the layering oval set. We're going to be creating a layering oval. I want to create the card base first, so I will need my scoring tool and I will need a piece of thick Whisper White that's cut at 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to score it at 2 1/8 on both sides, so from here to here and from here to here. Then I will fold it and it'll make the perfect gate. Now, also remember when you're using your Stampin' Up! Trimmer and scorer to make sure your blade is down at the bottom and that you don't accidentally use it. So 2 1/8, 2 1/8, score, turn it around, put it back in, 2 1/8, and there you go. All you do is fold the gate doors closed, and that is what we call a gatefold card. Okay. You'll want to use your bone folder to make the gate door folds nice and crisp. Next, I want to add some interest to the gate doors. I have a piece of So Saffron, and I'm going to stamp leaves from the Painted Harvest stamp set right here all over to give it some interest. Now, remember you need the foam piercing mat because this is a photopolymer stamp and you need a smoother surface for it to attach. So let me put this on an acrylic block. There you go. And I want my Granny Apple Green. And very simply we are going to, oh, one more thing I need. I need a piece of scrap paper so that, because I'm going to stamp my leaves off and I don't want to get ink on my piercing board. There we go. So just randomly stamp leaves. And one there. I think that's good. All right. I have one more thing I want to do before I put away my Granny Apple Green ink. And that is, I am going to add green ink on the edge to give it a little more interest. But first I need to cut it in half because this will be 2 panels for the 2 different doors. And we want to cut it at 1 7/8. So 1 and 7/8. Make sure that's all lined up. Okay, and with the blade this time, I'm cutting 2 panels for the door. Move my trimmer over, and now this is an old technique that we did a lot in the 90s, but it's starting to make a comeback. And I'm using the sponge dauber, and I always like to have my scrap paper right next to me so I can dab off some of the ink and just ink up the edges. And what that does is it gives it a definition to the edge. So when it's on, it kind of almost looks like another layer when you put it against the Whisper White background. All right, let me quickly do this. All right, now both of my panels have the inked edges. You put this away. Next, I am going to tape these panels onto the doors of my card. All right, so tape runner and just a little tape. And center that. There we go. And notice that if I, wait a minute, how was it? I thought I went across. Anyways, I flipped one of the panels around so it doesn't look like it matches up right there. It doesn't really matter. All right, and see how the green inking on the edge just gives it just that extra little something that helps the card have a little more interest. So far, this is what we have. Next, I'm going to do the sentiments for the card. I'm using the stamp set Better Together with the happy birthday and wishing you happiness on your special day. Happy birthday is going to be stamped on an oval. Just bring back the original card here. And so I have my Whisper White, oops, to stamp the happy birthday, and I need enough room to cut out the oval. I'm also going to stamp the sentiment on the inside of the card. So here is the happy birthday, and I'm just using Tuxedo Black Mementos ink. Happy birthday. Oh, and also, if you have not seen the chamois, our new cleaner, this is just a rubber foam that's in water, and it just takes the ink off the stamp, leaves it on the sponge, but you can see how it doesn't come off. It stains the sponge, but it doesn't ruin it. It doesn't transfer back onto your stamp. Pretty cool tool. That's called this Simply Chamois. All right, and we need the sentiment for the inside of our card. And I like to have enough room to write their name and then a little message. So I kind of do it at the 2/3 at the top, and I try to line that up. Perfect. All right. Next, I want to cut out my happy birthday with the oval shapes, and I'm using the 2 largest shapes. I'm cutting the happy birthday out with this one, and the other one I'm cutting out in the melon mambo. So let me get my big shot real quick. All right, so let's put happy birthday on there, and now just take our oval. I found that if you stamp and then cut, it's much easier than cutting the oval out and trying to stamp in the center of the oval. Much easier. All right, so we just put that in there. All right, I have my 2 ovals. I need to stick them together, just using tape runner, the snail. Now what I want to do is adhere this onto our gatefold. Now, I'm putting it at the top. My sunflower is going to go right here. I want to let it have enough room so it's kind of closer to the top. I also want to make sure I only tape it to this panel and not this panel over here. So I only want adhesive on this side of my oval. So I'm just going to leave my finger there. I know it's only about that much room of the panel. Okay. And goes right there. Okay. I'm going to turn it over and get a good squish. Great. All right. This is what we call a gatefold card. However, notice how it doesn't stay closed. So I want to show you what we can do to help these doors stay locked or latched or just closed. We're going to create this sunflower right here. What you need is the foam mat again, because our sunflower is with the photopolymer. The sunflower is a 3-step stamp. It has the center, which I've already stuck to an acrylic block. It has the first layer, which is just, it's larger and it doesn't have any detail. Notice also how I've put these black dots on my photopolymer. That just helps it, helps me see where the top of the pieces are so that it's easier to line them up. So that's all that's there for, but it sure is a nifty trick. All right, and then this smaller one has detailed petals, and it gives it that fun detail. And I want my dot at the top. There we go. All right, so there's my 3 layers, whoops, of stamp. I have Whisper white cardstock. Oh, I also am going to do this leaf here. Now, we need the Melon Mambo, the So Saffron, and the Granny Apple. So we need all 3 colors here. I have found that if I stamp the center of my sunflower first, it's much easier to line up my petals. So let me get out my So Saffron. There we go. We're just going to stick that right in the center. Perfect. And we're done with that, so we put that away. Next, now, with the 2 sunflower petals, we want this one to be lighter and this one to be darker. So the way to do that with one color is to stamp off. It's called the stamp off technique. So I need my scratch paper back again. Move this up a little bit. And what I'm going to do, let's see, there we go. All right, we're going to ink this up real good. So we're going to stamp off and then stamp. And by stamping off, it gives it a lighter shade. Okay, so that is what we call the first layer or the back petals. The second stamp is the detailed. Now I want this full saturation, so I'm going to get it really good and inked up. Line up my dots. And with it being darker, you can see the detail. Pretty cool, huh? That's really neat. All right, so we have the flower done, but now we want to put leaves around our flower. However, if I just stamp this leaf down, the stem is going to come on the top of the flower, and I want it to look like it's in the back of the flower. So I need to cover up my sunflower, and the way I do that is with the mask. A Post-it note, the sticky here. Make sure you stamp onto the Post-it note and make sure you've got some sticky back there so that, and then I also put the black dot there so I knew how to line it up. The black top goes at the top of my flower. Yeah. All right, now that I've covered my sunflower, I can stamp the green leaves all around it, and it'll look like that they're back behind the sunflower. We call this masking, the masking technique. All right, and let me see. Notice here I have the leaves up here and to the side. So I want to do that here. So up here. And and to the side. And now watch as I peel away the Post-it note. It looks like the leaves are back behind. So that is a fun technique. All kinds of things you're learning today. Now our sunflower is ready to be cut out. And unfortunately, there is not a die to cut it out, so we're going to have to use our snips and fussy cut. Some people like it, some people don't. I personally enjoy it. I think it's relaxing. Sometimes when I have a lot of the same card that I'm making and there's some fussy cutting, I'll sit in front of the TV and just fussy cut while I'm watching TV. All right, now we have it all cut out, but I want it to be a little more sturdy since we are tucking the oval underneath it. So I'm going to mat this on top of some Melon Mambo and then cut that out. There. Now we have our little flower cut out. Almost finished. Now that we have our flower cut out, we want it to layer on top of the oval, okay, like so. But we want it to have enough room so it doesn't stick off the edge, so it'll fit in the envelope, but also that it's up on the oval so it stays tucked. So right there looks really good. When you take your dimensionals, you're going to want to make sure you only put them over here in this area. You don't want it over here and you don't want it up here. So to let that happen, the first thing is I'm going to put a dimensional right here so I know that I am not going over the oval. And then where my flower is, I can put one, let's see, the dimensional's there, so I can put another one right here. And flip it over. And there we go. Oops. And take this one off. All right, and now, so that little leaf there is giving me some problems. Okay, right there. There we go. Okay, now this sunflower, it's raised up a little bit with the dimensionals, so the oval will tuck underneath it. It's large enough to where it holds the oval. We've made it more sturdy by putting it on cardstock. And so now when you open the gatefold, you can see the message, and then it simply just tucks back underneath there. And the flower is keeping it locked together. Isn't that great? Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos on that I create and different things, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then that way you won't miss any of the fun things that I make here in my craft room. Also, don't forget, if you go to my blog, creatingwithchristina.com, you can find all the details for this card, all the measurements, all the products that I used. There'll even be links to my shop so you can get any of the pieces that you need. And while you're on my blog, also don't forget to sign up for my email. Every week I send out information about my products, whether there's a sale or something new that's coming out. But more than that, I also include a card tutorial or craft tutorial that you won't get anywhere else. I won't put it on my blog. It won't be here on YouTube. It's just for my email subscribers. So anyways, thanks again for watching. I'm Christina Reese, and until next time, bye-bye.